Welcome to Online Field Training Contract Basics for Social Work Practicum Part 2. I'm Dr. Ann Riley, Field Education Coordinator. In this segment, we will focus on the contract itself and particularly the first step, those work plans. I invite you to pull up the school website and go directly to socialwork.ou.edu/Norman, Oklahoma. Norman Forms. Here we go. We will look at training handouts again, as well as reviewing sample contracts. Let me just point out what we have here. Practicum is comprised of 2 courses, one each semester or half a semester in the case of a block placement. So the first 2 are the undergraduate contracts, the next 2 are for foundation year, next are the direct practice at the concentration year level of the MSW program, and next are the administration and community practice contracts at concentration level. So looking at the contract now, for the purpose of demonstration, let's pull up 5816. Looking at the contract now, this information will be auto-populated. This information has all been linked through IPT. The first thing the student will complete is the description of their field setting. They may use the mission statement of the agency or other information in consultation with their field instructor to complete this. If this is your first exposure to the contract, let me emphasize the importance of reading the text throughout the contract. It will reinforce the training that we're providing here as it explains each phase of the contract. There are 2 purposes. One is the development of the work plans, which is what we're doing now, and the second is an evaluation tool. Work plans are an articulation of the activities that the student will be involved in, the educational opportunities. Contract work plans are developed at the beginning of each practicum course. At the end of each practicum course, then, the field instructor will evaluate the student's performance according to competence. So this contract serves both of those purposes. The first thing to see here is the student's field instruction self-assessment. Students click on this Get Data button, so their application information will auto-populate from the practicum application that was submitted to the field education office prior to securing their practicum. It's a baseline for where a student was at the start of the practicum planning process. Field instructors, you should receive an updated resume from your student, so assuming you have, click here. In this next section, it represents an initial conversation that should occur between student and field instructor. This helps to situate their learning. Let me pull it up here so we have it all on one page. This final section here. So it summarizes the student's strengths, their challenges, learning needs and goals, their needs for supervision, and overall objectives. The student will use these text boxes to create a statement for each of these items to confirm the expectations and their needs and to inform their field instructor. Good. First step done. Next, since we're doing work plans in this segment, we're going to bypass the evaluation tool information for now. For development of the work plans, you'll see that each competency has the definition and associated practice tasks. Read through all of this very carefully, especially these practice tasks. These will help you to understand how students should be engaging in the activities for achieving the competence. We're not going to be dealing with revisions, evidence for strategies for now, just these work plans. All right, let me go back to our PowerPoint. So here's the student's self-assessment. That's all in one page. And now we have supervision. The work plan for supervision. So here's an example. Let me say that this is pretty minimal. I would actually encourage the student to expand and articulate more specifically what the plan for supervision will be in working with their field instructor. Let's go back to the website now and take a look at a handout that's available to you. Contract training handout examples, work plans. We've got a few here. All right, so this example is more specific and encompasses working with other agency staff too. Again, identify the educational activities that will allow the student to engage in these practice tasks to utilize supervision productively. So examine the practice tasks to prepare for supervision, to bring their cases and concerns for analysis within supervision, to use supervision to explore use of self as a tool for helping clients achieve change, and to actively seek out supervision to improve practice, as we've discussed, the integration of classroom learning in the practice setting too. Students bring in your classroom learning from generalist practice, theory from HIBSE classes, from diversity, from all of your coursework. Bring in the materials that are relevant to your work you're doing in practicum so that field and academics are integrated. This is our signature pedagogy. Good. Going back to the PowerPoint now. Another example then is professional behavior. So the work plan here articulates the behavior expected of the agency. Elaboration is encouraged, but also let me say that what's important about this competency and this practice task is to understand what the school's expectations are for behavior. Returning to our contract, you'll see that it is mentioned here as well. Let me point out the school's student performance policy, and that is on the website too within our training handouts. These expectations are critical for both the student and the field instructor to read and understand. As the students prepare to enter the social work profession, they should fully familiarize themselves with these behavioral expectations. Those of us in the field know this is a demanding profession. It is demanding on us and on our clients. Let's look at the basic skills that are necessary. Here we go. So basic skills that are necessary to acquire professional practice. You'll see communication, interpersonal skills, and cognitive skills. Obviously critical components. Please read these more thoroughly. Then emotional and mental abilities are necessary as well. I want to point out the importance of stress management within our profession and encourage field instructors to have these conversations regularly with your students. Notice professional performance commitment, professional performance skills, professional commitment, professional behavior. This is actually the competency that we're discussing right now, and included within it is self-awareness. To be aware of our own strengths and our limitations, as well as how we're perceived by others, is critical to developing constructive social work practice. And finally, students are expected to confirm their obligation to the NASW Code of Ethics and to use this as a guide for professional decision making. Students, make sure that you have a printed copy and or a bookmark it on your computers from the NASW website so that you can refer to it during the course of your practicum. All right, let's look at another example. Professional context. The context for social practice is critical. This example takes place in a healthcare setting, which is situated in medical social work practice. So understanding the broader scope of practice is important too. As we look back at the contract again, thank you. As we look back at the contract again, you'll see values and ethics, professional identity, tasks for practice. For each competency, you're only completing the work plan portion of these at the beginning of a semester. Let me now mention this revisions because I've not addressed that yet. So let's say the work plan is completed, but throughout the course of the practicum and before the end of the semester when evaluations are due, other opportunities arise. The revision section is for inputting any additional opportunity, like a workshop that's relevant, or an agency activity that arises for the student to attend or to be involved with. This reminds us that the contract is a living, breathing document. It really is not just a deadline or homework assignment to complete, but something that should be utilized throughout the practicum and supervision process. The student should refer to their contract, check to see if they're completing activities as planned, and inquire about opportunities yet needed. Anything that needs to be added can be done here in revisions as the practicum evolves and needs to be included. So as you scroll down through the entire document, then you'll get to the bottom and we'll need to sign off. On the work plans, let me go back to the PowerPoint. So first the student, then the field instructor, then the liaison sign. The IPT system will prompt the field instructor and liaison when it's their turn to sign once the student has done so. This slide is to remind you that there are 2 courses for practicum, so there are 2 contracts as well. A work plan will be developed at the beginning of each of these courses, and then an evaluation at the end of each of these will be due. We've completed part 2. Please join me for part 3 on the evaluation phase of the contract coming up.